Hello everyone, my name is Harjop. I just wanted to share a thought that I had today, and I wanted to first give thanks to Richard Grove, the founder of tragedyandhope.com. There's a forum online that goes into the writings of Carol Quigley a bit, but also it's an interview, at least the part that I just saw the other day. It's a 5-part interview with John Taylor Gatto. Great interview. Highly recommend that you watch it, and you can watch it at 2x speed on YouTube to cut through the time, and the pace that it goes at is actually a lot better since John speaks a bit slow. But anyways, I wanted to thank Richard because at the end of that 5-part series, or I should just say after the end of the 5th part, he mentions the idea that it is part of our duty as people who may have insight into anything. And now I'm not claiming I have any type of insight. I just am seeking to share something that I thought was worth sharing, that I may think is true. I have a hard time being confident in a lot of these things because life is so great and grand and infinite that anything that I may think or have put together, of course someone else has already put that together themselves, I'm sure, but also it's a combination that I've put together that probably isn't fully true, but at least that if someone's along the way catches this message and finds something that rings with them, that in the end, as Richard says, is something that can help liberate someone or free someone of any type of constrictive thinking that they might have, and to truly live freely, then it's worth sharing. And one of these things, I just was driving home from a wedding reception, and I was passing by a bridge they were building, and basically the bridge had some forms that were put into place, and also some support that they had put so that when they poured the concrete could set properly, and the weight of it wouldn't go and basically overwhelm, or rather I should say, so that when you put liquid concrete, it needs some shape, and then it needs some support to stay there and to solidify. And then once that's done, basically then you can remove those forms, because then it's in a state that it's solid enough to and strong enough to stay in its form, and to have the strength to support the rest of the pieces that are there. And so what this made me think is, in society, basically we have a lot of forms that we are molded to. And so I wanted to just title this video as Breaking the Mold, and one way on how do you do that. So I know in my life I've had a lot of struggles that I've had to backtrace and reverse engineer to see what are the root causes of a lot of the things that have afflicted me, and I'm still working through that. Still, hopefully, God willing, I'll be able to apply some of the things that through the grace of God I've been able to ascertain and start to apply into my life. And part of that has been that the forms that society has put upon us, that we grow into, basically those make us grow a certain way, and inform us through a limited perspective, or at least a selected perspective that is separate than any other perspective that you may find in life. And so basically it's even, you may have seen in Japan, I believe it is, they grow watermelon, and they put it into a box, and the watermelon or a crate, and the watermelon will grow in the shape of that shape. And so in that way, it's worth introspecting and to consider what are the things that we have grown into that perhaps aren't, that isn't best for us. And in that way, like this mold that this bridge structure was being formed with, it's through that mold that the structure was able to be supported, and then it would firm up, and then the mold could be taken away. And so now when we want to break these molds, we have to first recognize we've been formed by a mold. So first we need to look into, all the things that may have affected us, beyond our genetics, but mostly, the things that have informed us, things we've been raised by, the ideas, things that our parents, friends, teachers, things we've thought of on our own, and to question them at a level that is fundamental when it comes to a principle value. So we have to, I don't want to say we, but it's important, at least for me, that I align my life with principles. And so with those principles in mind, when when one has collected a set of principles they seek to live by, then it's important that we stick by that, and that our worldview, but also more so how we live, our worldview on how we live, is informed by those principles at all times. And they are strict to the core. Not to say that you can't lie at certain times, because of course sometimes you have to lie. If, let's say, a classic example, a Nazi comes at your door and you are hiding Jews, then perhaps at that time it would be morally right to lie. But anyways, so things aren't always cut and dry. Things aren't always hard and fast. So it's not like that. However, you do have some sort of principles and ethics and some type of bar that you've created that is high, that you seek to strive towards, whether that's integrity, honesty, truth, love, any of these types of values that we seek to live by. And so society has imprinted us and molded us with certain values, and that's the type of in-the-box mentality that has been created, in my view, and mostly by there's obviously, I'm having this view because I've been molded by certain things I've looked into and read, and so these obviously aren't my own original thoughts, but it's a great example though that this is something that I've even been molded by, that I can say that everything is that way, but in the end we have to consider whose intentions are we living by. And so when we want to consider that life should be an endeavor of being free, that we should consider being free and independent, living the true American dream, where being self-sufficient, working by your own free will, and doing those things in life by your free will. These are things that are very important and paramount to our happiness, to our way of life, to the things we seek in life. When things are forced upon us, when we have to live a certain way, then that gets in the way of our own happiness and well-being. And so it's not to say that an anarchy or a world without government or structure is the right way to go. I haven't gone that far enough to actually explore that, but mainly that we have to consider what are we living in, the type of system that's rubbed off on us. And so John Taylor Gatto in this interview goes far in that, with his perspective and the things he's been molded by. And so also I wanted to mention, I forgot to mention, Richard Grove had mentioned the thing that is prompting me to make this, is that they talk about the trivium, which is grammar, logic, and rhetoric. And so basically the idea that these are things that people that are intelligent, that go to Ivy Leagues, they're taught these basic things on how to communicate properly, how to have a conversation, how to be able to convince someone, how to debate someone, persuade someone, so on. And so that this is very important, that in the world we live in, the idea that leading by example isn't the only important thing, because the other way that we can learn is also through language. And that's how we go to school. We learn through books, we learn through our teachers, they speak to us in lectures and so on. And so to master the language and to be able to give a direct message, a very convincing message that can go into someone's heart and soul and actually speak to them on a one-to-one level is very important to master if we seek to create the world that we want. And so the idea that the way that he said it was that the world is made up of words. And if you have the right words, you can will the world in any way that you seek. And so that's very profound in that words change society. And so all these books that have been written over time, they've influenced thought, they've influenced how people live. And so even people who are dead today, they're actually still influencing the world, through their authorship. So in that way I felt, even though it's always held me back, that I've always wanted to share things on YouTube, I find it very profound that we can speak to the whole world, just me in my room with a camera, staring at a camera, and we'll see what happens if anyone watches this. But mostly that it's my duty that if I feel like there's something worth sharing, that I should share it. And same to you, if you have anything that you feel like you can share with anyone, especially if it's online, you can throw up a video. And the beauty is every voice, your voice is so unique that there's only a certain set of people that will listen to you. And there might be people that have millions of followers, there might be people that get more attention, but there's still voices that are missing, that we think, oh well, there's one person, he has or she has all these people that are telling the same thing. However, your voice will reach a certain set of people that otherwise would not be reached. And so that's what I also find profound, is that we can speak to the whole world. However, for myself, my job may not be to, or my ability may not be to reach to many people. However, just to reach one person is very profound in itself, because a human life is infinite in its potential and nature, and that to reach one life is such a beautiful thing. And so in that way, back to the subject of breaking molds, I think, when it comes to religion, when it comes to especially, the Sikh faith that I'm part of, the idea is that there's a guru, and this guru you will follow. But it's more so that you're going to shape yourself on the mold of the guru. And once you have, shaped that mold long enough, it will solidify. And then that mold, or that, system that was the actual mold itself, won't be needed anymore, because that's who you become. And so after a while, you will then require less and less, of that support that created that mold. And so in this way, you are becoming truly independent and free, because you do not require any more crutches anymore. And in the Sikh faith, the whole actual mold, the goal of the mold is actually to become selfless. And so this is idea of that, we are all one. That all these things that color us, they are things that, make us different, make us unique, give us personality, give us a character that we're playing. However, in our essence, in my source, is the same as your source, is the same as the source that has given life to all that is in this creation. And that is such a beautiful and wonderful, not just message, but in its deep core, you can start to sense that it is true. Whether you even look at it scientifically, but at its fundamental truth, as you dive deeper down that, at least from what I've seen, I'm seeing that it is more and more true. Because truly, if you right now close your eyes and you remove all your thoughts and you sit there quiet and still, and I do the same, then what really is there that separates us? Because that which gives you that life consciousness is the same consciousness that I may have. However, the moment we break out of that silence, we go back into our character, our personalities, the things that color us, the character that we are. And that's what we think we are. And that's why we think we're different. But really at our source, when they say go deep and inward, really I think what that partially means is that we are supposed to sit quiet and still and observe this well that is within us, that is giving us life. And so the more that we do that as people, we will then see that things are equal, things are more closely knit than we thought before, and that we then can start respecting the environment, the other people around us, the animals and plants and everything with such respect, because we then see that it is just like us. It is us. That there is one mantra that gentleman had mentioned, that it is just, this is you. This is you. And if you think about this, mantra, when you say it, you actually are saying it to yourself, but then it also applies to everything outside yourself. Because this is you, meaning me, and this is you, meaning you, and everything around me. And so to, I don't want to take much more time. The idea of breaking these molds is very important. We must, like I said, understand the things that have molded us, find a truth that we can be guided by that is greater than this material reality has presented to us, and be shaped by a greater mold. And now, one method is you find a guru. This guru will give you the mold, you live by the mold, and you become, as the guru will say, you'll become free, and as what they say is enlightened. Really you're becoming free. And so that is one method. That is the one method I understand. There may be other methods, but all I implore everyone is to see what are the things in their life that is holding them back, that maybe wasn't in their hands, that maybe society had imprinted on them, had molded them, and that then it's important to see why and to find new sources of inspiration, new support, and be molded again by something new. Now, this is a difficult process. It requires much discipline, much commitment to the process. But day after day, as you chip away at that concrete that had set over a decade, that you thought you were, and you completely start chipping away until there's nothing left, then you will need something to replace that. Perhaps eventually when you become selfless, there is no more mold. But out of self-preservation, out of the human necessity to feel individualized and to be felt as unique and alive, this could be a defense mechanism that we've created. However, on the way towards becoming maybe moldless or selfless, we need to constantly be refining our mold and make it so that the transition from one mold to the other is a short one. Because if we spend a lot of time in one mold, we can get used to it, and it can get stronger over time. As concrete heals over time, it becomes stronger. The Hoover Dam still today is curing, and so it's still becoming stronger. And so in the same way, we should chip away at our molds the moment we see things that are incongruent to a more realistic and true worldview, a more loving true worldview. And so through our faculties, let us try our best to connect with that truth, that eternal truth, whatever it may be. But to first, we must have some sense of wonder and awe that we are not just it. We are just one part. We are one gift. We are not the center of the world. But truly, the center of the world is still within us, which is the conscious giving life force that I believe is giving life to all, which is such an amazing feeling and sentiment that even if it weren't true, it's great to have something that you can live by, that you can hang on to. And that's what people say religion is. But hell, if that's what it is and it works for people, then that's fine. And just to end it, if you're on two paths, and one path is the right path, and another path is the one that will lead you astray, the longer you go on that path, the further it diverges from that other path. So what we're trying to do is take a parallel path, or make our path as parallel as the truest path. And that takes time, and the beauty is, don't dig yourself a deeper hole. Don't go down that path further than you need to, because now the distance between paths will be harder. That transition between one path to the other is when you're going through the forest. And when you're going through the forest, that transition is difficult to get to a new path. So cut yourself short when you made the mistake. Find your newer path. Make it an easier transition. Don't go dig yourself too deep of a hole. Don't go too far down that path, and continually be improving. Continually be finding that truest path. With that being said, thank you for your time. I know this is a long video. This is the best, I could do with the time. Thank you very much. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.